Welcome to an all-new episode of SJHL Weekly across all of the SJHL social media platforms. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jeromy Corrigan, and boy, oh boy, we have another jam-packed episode of SJHL Weekly. Coming up, we will be joined by the head coach and general manager of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Kevin Kaminsky, to get his thoughts on the start of the season. And we will also be joined by Ronge Ice Wolves captain, Walker Jerome. So lots to get to, and of course we have to bring in our co-host Jamie Neugebauer. Jamie, how are we doing today?
Good, yeah, and I should say get the elephant out of the room right away.
Okay.
I do have a chin. So
there you go.
People were wondering if I had a chin.
There was a rumor floating around, yeah, and we have solved that rumor. And you also would have also noticed that we are missing one of our co-hosts, and as you may have known, the winter weather this weekend, not too great in the province of Saskatchewan. So joining us from his beautiful apartment in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, is our good friend, Rory Mcgouran. Rory, how are we doing today?
Yeah, we're doing great. I got a follow-up on that. I've known Nugsy for 5 years. I've never seen his chin. So I know I'm not sure how the wife, or more specifically the kids who, get mad when Jamie shaves off his beard, but in the support of Movember and all the great causes that raises money for, I'm happy that we can announce that Jamie has a chin. And I do think that we are going to need to start another segment in the show called What's Wrong with Rory's Car? Because for another week, I can't make it into the studio. And just to specify, there is currently an igloo around my car right now, which is stuck at the Elgar Peterson Arena parking lot. So after this show is done, I got a lot of shoveling to do to free up the Acura. But yeah, even if it was free, the road's not great. But right now I can't even move it an inch. So that's what's wrong this week with Rory's car.
So follow-up question to that. What was the reaction when you're getting back from a road trip and you see your car like that in that current state?
Just maybe a little bit of comical relief after the week that the Humboldt Broncos had down south. Of course, they got stuck there for an extra day, right, because of the road. So stayed in Estevan, but it was a 3-game losing streak. And then coming back to the car, I wasn't too frustrated about it. I know, a couple of the players would have helped push out, but it was a lost cause at that point. I just, I'll get someone to pick me up. I'll come back tomorrow during the day when it's light out and shovel her out. But it won't be a problem. But I just kind of chuckled and moved on.
So for anybody watching on Facebook, 1 like equals 1 prayer for Rory's car. We want that car out of the parking lot. Please and thank you. But Rory kind of alluded to it. The Humboldt Broncos played at 3-3 this weekend. So let's get right into the weekend's scoring recap, and the recap presented by Sask Lotteries. 4 games on the schedule Friday night. The Balfords North Stars winning 7-4 over the Estevan Bruins. Nipawin picking up a 5-1 win. That should say 5-1 over the Ronge Ice Wolves. The Weyburn Red Wings picking up a 5-4 win over the Humboldt Broncos. Those scores got flip-flopped. And Yorkton knocking off the Notre Dame Hounds 4-2. Then on Saturday, that's when that winter weather really started to hit, and we started to notice. Nipawin and Melville unfortunately got postponed because the northern half of the province got that snowstorm first. Then the Estevan Bruins shut out the Humboldt Broncos 5-0. And Battlefords won 4-3 over Weyburn. Weyburn really pushing the Stars in that one. Rory, you kind of touched on it already earlier on, but let's get right to it. The Humboldt Broncos playing 3-3, losing all 3 games. I guess what happened for the Broncos this weekend down south?
I guess one of the mainstays, there's never any excuses, but there was a big flu bug running through the Humboldt Broncos, about 50% of the teams. And then they went up against the Bruins, who, other than the North Stars, have probably been the best team in the SJHL outside of their 1-6 start. Look, for the Humboldt Broncos, they started the year 8-0. People were putting them with the North Stars among the top 2 teams in Canada, among others. But since then, they've gone 7-6. So 1 game above 500. And let's not bury them for that. That's still a winning record. It's still a respectable record, but they've come down to earth a bit. And I think over the course of this little week stretch, the 3-3, goaltending's been a bit of an issue. It was an 8-18 save percentage combined against the Bruins twice and Weyburn Red Wings once. Special teams weren't great. They allowed 5 power play goals. They only scored 1. And again, I just think they had to try and get over a hurdle where a lot of their players were under the weather. It was a tough 3 games in 3-day stretch. And they're going to take a learning lesson out of this one, because maybe later on they'll face another obstacle in the season, and head coach Scott Barney, assistant coach Carter Hansen can go to them and be like, hey, look at the effort you guys gave us. I know it didn't come out in points, but when half the team was hampering, look at the effort you guys gave us. We can get through this. So you got to pull a positive from it. I think that's what you do. But overall, it's a coming back to earth moment for the Humboldt Broncos, who now find themselves dropped right to third place. The Flin Flon Bombers have passed them.
And it's almost good, though, that you could face a little bit of adversity, though, too. This is going to be kind of their first stint of adversity so far this season, and now you can kind of go back home on Wednesday and try and get back in the win column.
Home cooking for the Humboldt Broncos. We mentioned it, the Ronge Ice Wolves. They're 7-1 at the Elgar Peterson Arena. They will have one road game between now and December 3rd. So a lot of time to kind of shake back up into the win column what they've experienced so far this year at the EPA.
Yeah, and on the other side of the coin, I got to give a lot of credit to the Estevan Bruins, for the way they've turned around. Right. Obviously, a lot of pressure, a lot of emotions, in the Affinity Place earlier this year. Is Tatarnik's job in trouble? Do they need to make a lot of moves? And they have made moves. And Jason Tatarnik and many GMs in this league have made a lot of moves. That's going to happen. But you got to give them credit. Cam Herdlicka, Rory, you saw him firsthand. Jeremy, you too. 67 of 67 over 2 games there against the Humboldt Broncos. One of those games, you mentioned it, Rory, the Broncos outshot the Bruins pretty heavily. And Cam Herdlicka, he's shown that ability, that athleticism to steal games, even games that the other team maybe was a bit better. And my last point about the Estevan Bruins, too, is if there's the hottest player in the league, it's probably that top line for Battlefords, I'll just say. But if there's a second hottest player behind those 3, probably Jang Pagura. I mean, he's been outstanding. 4 goals in 4 games, a 5-game streak, 9 points. He's been a lot to deal with. And Alexa Babick and Blanchard there at the blue line could be the best pairing in the league right now, too. So, kudos to Jason Tatarnik and the Bruins for doing a good job, too.
Rory, what do you think of Estevan's play this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Cam Herdlicka. There is no goaltender in the league that matters more to his team than Cam Herdlicka does for the Estevan Bruins. What he did against the Broncos was unbelievable. And it didn't have to be highlight reel save after highlight reel save. The defense core really structured well, and the Broncos didn't have a ton of A-grade scoring chances, but when they were there, I mean, Herdlicka, we know he's not the biggest goaltender, but I keep saying this week after week, sounding like a broken record, that he's the best moving goaltender in the crease, and he's never 100% out of position because he can fight back better than any goaltender. And the other thing is that players are starting to find out how to play in the SJHL for Estevan. They have 16 players on their roster that have never played a game in the SJHL, whether that's rookies or whether that's coming from different leagues like the BCHL, from over in the Maritimes or Quebec, right? And we know it's a different brand of hockey here. It's physical. It's in your face. There's not a lot of room. So you're getting to look at Jag Pangura. You're getting to look at Sal Calora, Logan Ziegler, Alex Blanchard. It started off slow for Estevan, but now these guys know, they understand the league, and you're seeing them all start to take off. I think that's a really big proponent. And just one little shout out, though, for also Estevan and the SJHL, because it kind of infuriates me when I see it. As good as Jag Pangura has been, can we get him taken off the website as a rookie? Because he played 33 games last year in the BCHL. He isn't a rookie. And he's second place in rookie scoring. So it's just my one shout out to the Bruins to maybe take that little star off of Jag Pangura. He's not a rookie, but he's been spectacular. Yes,
he has been. I think we all, in our group chat, we all kind of agreed that he might not be classified as a rookie, but
he's not.
No, he's not. I saw him last year in Prince George. He played half the season with the Spruce Kings. Let's talk about the other team that you saw over the weekend, Rory, the Weyburn Red Wings. Obviously, they picked up a 5-4 win over the Broncos. I thought it was a great hockey game, actually, for both teams. Weyburn played really well. And then the fact that Weyburn then pushes Battleford only losing by 1, a pretty solid weekend for the Red Wings.
Yeah, it's a really solid weekend. And I think it gives a lot of their fans at the Crescent Point Place a reason to come out to, fill the barns in later games happening before the Christmas break, because you went up against, at the time, 2 best teams in the league. Right. You knocked off the Humboldt Broncos, and you were a period away from beating the Battlefords North Stars. So, it was right there for Cody Mapes and that group. Spectacular weekend. And when I look at the Humboldt Broncos game specifically, Weyburn just didn't let them come back. They were up, 2-0. Humboldt gets back within 1. Weyburn puts a cushion 3-1. Humboldt goes 3-2. Weyburn they kept doing what they had to do to stave off the Broncos. And they can score, right? You know that they can score in bunches to come back in games and take over. But Weyburn didn't let them do it. Every time they got back within 1, Weyburn went back up 2. So kudos to the Weyburn Red Wings. 2 goals for Ty Mason. 2005 born. Almost identical goals, flying down the right wing with his speed and then shooting a 5-full under the goaltender. But yeah, 2 big wins. I just think it gives them huge momentum, more momentum than Estevan beating Humboldt, more momentum than Battleford's beating Estevan and Weyburn. What Weyburn did against the top 2 teams is huge for that dressing room. And in hindsight, should be huge for the fan base too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the confidence you get from playing 2, obviously the top 2 teams in the league, you beat one, you push the other one to just 1 goal a hockey game. They're going to be very confident going into their next contest. I know at the beginning of the season we talked about Ty Mason, and it might have been a bit of a slow start for his campaign, but boy, oh boy, the last week and a half, Nugsy, he has been playing some pretty good hockey.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a huge surprise to me that Ty had a bit of a slow start. No training camp with the team, no preseason with the team because he was with the Winnipeg Ice in the Western Hockey League for a little bit there. Maintained his eligibility as far as I understand it, but he was up there. So there's that. But I gotta be thrilled to say and to shout out Cody Mapes for the job that he's done to bring guys in and get these guys to stick with the process. That line with Mason and Tallman and Matteo Turin, who they brought in from the BCHL, they're a great line, one of my favorite lines in the league. And I'm not surprised that Ty Mason is starting to get it going because he is one of the elite players in this league and only 5 berths here, carried a lot of load, played a lot of ice time, had a lot of ice time last year too, and it's paying off for him and the Weyburn Red Wings. And final thing is Boston Gelowitz, bit of a cult hero there in Weyburn. He gets called up from Junior B every time, it seems, puts on a show. So, very impressive, and kudos to Boston Gelowitz.
For sure. And obviously, yeah, like you mentioned, the Weyburn Red Wings, earning the split this weekend against 2 very good teams, but the fact that you can build some confidence in a division that's is still pretty wide open with between the Estevan Bruins, Yorkton Terriers, Melville Millionaires, a big boost for Weyburn this past weekend. Jamie, let's talk a little bit about the game you were at Friday night. The Yorkton Terriers snap a 6-game losing streak over the Notre Dame Hounds, 4-2, a late goal in the third period. What did you see from that hockey game between those 2 teams?
Yeah, we talked about Caleb Allen a lot to start the year in net for Yorkton, and he is the real deal again. For me, he was unbelievable for Yorkton. I'm cautious to say that he just straight up stole it. Right. But he was very, very, very good. I think Connor Selesky brought in from Whitecourt, and the AJ didn't really play much for Whitecourt. They didn't play at all for Whitecourt, but he's a big, big ad for Yorkton. That he's going to be a weapon alongside Clay Sleva, up top there, and Dylan Ruptash for the Yorkton Terriers. That's a deadly, deadly combo. And finally, some goals, because both Yorkton and Notre Dame are 2 teams that have really struggled, for offense. And Selesky looks like he's going to be a guy that can help, Matt Hare do that. On the Hounds side of things, again, it's another game. I think the Hounds got to feel good about their 60-minute effort. They played very, very well during the week when you were there against Melville. Ended up winning that one, got a bounce. The last time the Hounds played Yorkton was the last time Yorkton also played, which was 8 days before that in Wilcox, and the Hounds got a couple more bounces that Yorkton got that game. Yorkton got the bounce this time. Could have gone either way, but the Hounds, again, they're in a good spot. They're playing really, really well, and got first SJHL goals again, Sam Bourgeois and Kyle Calamere. So got to shout out those guys for their first ever junior SJHL goals. And I think Brett Pilkington's got to be fine about the way he's feeling about the Hounds right now. Again, the bounces will go one way or the other, and what we see in the standings is so tight, as we've said all year long.
Yes, we have.
That a win one way or the other changes things. The Hounds, if they had won, would have been in 6th. But they didn't, so they're in 8th, and the other games were postponed, and so that's where we stand. But I think both Matt Hare's got to be happy with the streak snapped, and Brett Pilkington and his staff have to be happy with the performance.
And just because you mentioned that game on Wednesday between the Notre Dame Hounds and the Melville Millionaires, that is where we find our highlight of the week, presented by Tourism Saskatchewan. Have a look.
Hounds, good hard effort throughout this game, just have not been able to beat Connor or Kelton Pine. Wills, though, winds his way through. Still going, Wills makes a move, he scores! What a goal by Noah Wills! End to end, and it's 2-0.
And we were on the call for that goal, Nugsy. That I've saved that clip. It has to be up there right now for goal of the year so far. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it was vintage Noah Wills end to end, and I said all game during the broadcast that game that Noah Wills just has to love playing in Wilcox. A little bit of extra space. He's so crafty.
Right.
He's so skilled and dangerous, and he was pretty dangerous all night and got the better of the Hounds D on that situation. But yeah, overall, even though it was 2-0 Melville at the time, I still think the Hounds were the better team over 60 minutes. I think Mike Rooney in his post-game interview with Benny Walchuk kind of said the same thing. So, Great goal though by Willsy. What a talented kid. And again, I've said it all year. Jeremy, you know it. Rory, you know it. Noah Wills is worth the price of admission if you can go and watch the Melville Millionaires.
100%. Final game to talk about, Rory. The Nipawin Hawks earn a big 5-1 win over the Ronge Ice Wolves Friday night. We were interested to see if the Nipawin Hawks could build off that shootout win that they had over the Weyburn Red Wings the previous weekend. And overall, a pretty good 60-minute performance against a team that's right up there near the top of the standings.
Yeah, big win in the division as well at home for the Nipawin Hawks. And how about Mcgouran-Ratzlaff, guys? You talk about Noah Wills. Have we not been talking enough about the SJHL's leading goal scorer? It's possible because we mentioned the Battleford's top line, how good the Flin Flon top line is. Estevan starting to roll. Mcgouran-Ratzlaff just keeps putting the puck in the back of the net. Last year, he had 3 goals in 20 games. He's got 16 already in 18 games. He's been unbelievable. And for me, for the Nipawin Hawks, I thought early, is he a flash in the pan? Is it just a really good start? And he seems to be proving all that lingo wrong. It's Mcgouran-Ratzlaff, and when he has the puck on his stick, he's one of the most lethal shooters in the SJHL. But overall, yes, big victory for the Nipawin Hawks, who, they got to stay afloat along that playoff race, which we know how tight it is. We talk about it every week. And those divisional games where you're going to build momentum against a really tough LaRange team. And we'll talk to Kevin Kaminsky and we'll talk to Walker Jerome about that game and maybe what happened. But this is huge for the Nipawin Hawks to protect home ice, protect the cage, and to pick up a win over LaRange.
Yeah, it's big, and but the real crux of it too is LaRange didn't stay out of the penalty box in that game, and Mcgouran-Ratzlaff, Rory, has 16 goals, 8 power play goals. So I'm not good at math, but I think that's half. And that's the number 1 mark in the SJHL. And you know what? That's a pretty deadly power play. I said it last week, Jeremy. You can remember this Nipawin roster is better than the way they've been playing. Yep. And I believe it, and I'll argue about it until I'm asleep again. But there you go.
Go ahead, Rory.
Sorry, I just wanted to, maybe we don't have to because it could be a week, although they did go 2-0. If we can roll back in, if we have a little more time and cover the Battleford's North Stars and what they did over the weekend. Yes, they made it close to Weyburn, but it's their 3rd straight goal against the Estevan Bruins, or 3rd straight game, pardon me, where they've scored 7 goals against the Bruins. Does the Battleford just have their number, Newsy?
Yeah, I think Battleford's is everybody's number.
Well, right now they do.
Right. That top line, it's pretty unstoppable. They were dealing with some injuries and some illness too. No Keaton Klein, no problem. They still keep rolling along. It's pretty wild, and it would have been interesting to see what they would have brought. Jeremy, 3rd game in 3 days there in Wilcox. What you didn't see on the screen or on the graphic is that on Sunday there was supposed to be a game in Wilcox between Battleford's and Notre Dame that was postponed, mostly because refs couldn't get down to Wilcox. People will probably be like, "Oh, Battleford's is in Weyburn. Why can't they come to Wilcox?"
Yeah,
they could get there. The Hounds could get there. I couldn't get there, which is fine.
No.
But the refs couldn't get there because I'm pretty sure they were all Regina refs. So, and all the highways were closed. So it would have been interesting to see what kind of effort Battleford's could have put in such a tight space. But right, Rory. I think they got everybody's number.
For sure.
Well, the North Stars have 42 third period goals scored. The second place has 26. They just overwhelm you over 60 minutes. And if you try to stop one line, the next one's fresh and they're coming after you. They're impossible to control. And one of the biggest things that stands out to me is their differential between power play opportunities and time shorthanded.
Right.
They're plus 22. They have 22 more power plays than they do time shorthanded. This is a team, and that screams at me that they just overwhelm you, and all you can do is try to hold on. It reminds me, if you've seen Coach Carter, when Samuel L. Jackson is talking to Junior Battle in the the tournament championship, and he's just hold on to the big fella, Junior. Just try to hold on to him. You can't do that to the Battleford's North Stars, right? Because if you do, you take penalties, and that's Battleford's will make you pay in every way. They're first in the league in standings, most goals for, least goals against. top 3 forwards in scoring, number 1 defenseman, number 1 goaltender, undefeated when scoring first. The list of records for the North Stars right now goes on and on and on, and it's just because they overwhelm you over 60 minutes. And they're a fun team to watch, but no team can match up with them right now over 60 minutes.
And Steve Kesslering with the most shorthanded goals in the league too right now.
Yeah, every stat is Battleford.
So yeah.
17-0-1-1 on the season, and they were just, for the third week in a row, the top team in the SJHL in the top 20 rankings. Before we go to break, got to give a big shout out to all of our great sponsors here in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League and the SJHL Weekly. Without their supports, this show would not be possible. Have to give a big shout out to all the sponsors on our screen, but that being Chevrolet, Capital Auto Mall, Great Western, Canterra Seeds, RBC, SaskTel, SGEU, Direct West, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Tourism Saskatchewan, and Young's Equipment. Thank you so much for your support, because without your support, we wouldn't be able to put on our great shows each and every week. So a big thank you to all of our sponsors for their support. After the break, we will be pleased to be joined by the head coach and general manager of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Kevin Kaminsky, get his thoughts on the start of the season for the Ronge Ice Wolves, and much, much more. This is SJHL Weekly across all of the SJHL social media platforms.
Capital Auto Mall is a proud partner of the SJHL, supporting the rich traditions and proud future of junior hockey in Saskatchewan. Capital Auto Mall, on the corner of Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel, because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. You are what matters most. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. From the dance competitions, to the rodeos, to helping discover and embrace technology across the province, we're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Every year, SaskTel contributes nearly $3 million to approximately 1,000 nonprofits, charities, associations, and events in more than 200 communities across Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep discovering, and we'll be there to help, to lend a hand, and join in the fun. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will, because we are dedicated to our home. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year.
For victims of domestic abuse, fleeing may mean leaving everything behind. There is hope. SaskTel provides brand new cell phones so that starting over is possible. Learn more at sastel.com/fresh-start.
Boost your efficiency and your bottom line with Young's Equipment and Case IH tractors, including the cutting-edge Puma 150 CVX and the Maxim 145 with best-in-class efficiency. Check out the Case IH lineup today at Young's Equipment.
Welcome back to SJHL Weekly across the SJHL social media platforms. Thank you so much for joining us on a snowy and chilly Monday in Saskatchewan. I hope you're all doing well. It's Rory Mcgouran, Jamie Neugebauer, Jeromy Corrigan. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. And we are now pleased to be joined by the head coach and general manager of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Kevin Kaminsky. And this interview is presented by the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going today?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Very good.
I guess first and foremost, Kevin, how's everything going up in Ronge just when it comes to the weather-wise? You guys not snowed in? You good?
No, actually, it's sunny and a beautiful day here today, so we'll take it. I know we got hit pretty hard there the other day, but I have to do a little shoveling, so I got to get my snowblower working here soon. So, but no, it's been a beautiful day today, and getting prepared here for a big week coming up here in the Ronge.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, and there aren't too many more beautiful places in the world than the world around La Ronge when the weather's nice. It's so beautiful up there. Gotta love that. I gotta ask you, what also is beautiful is the way that your team handled that 10 games without you to start the year. You and I talked when I was up there in La Ronge about this very topic, the job that Kyle Schneider did, to put you guys in this good stead that you pick up that ball and run with it. But just talk about the character that you've seen from your team to be able to kind of overcome the missing of their coach for the first 10 games and just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to Schneid. Schneid's, I tell you what, he's going to make a great head coach in the league or somewhere down the road here. He knows what it takes, first of all, and he's got great character, great work ethic, and is always willing to learn and has a great rapport with the players. So yeah, like I said, he did a great job, and I think just with it was kind of a, you take a positive out of a negative. It was kind of a good experience where, I got to sit at home and have my notebook and break down the game. And we went over a lot of video and got to, whether it was D-zone coverage, forechecks, power play, penalty kill. We did a lot of corrections on the stuff that I seen. That maybe I wouldn't have seen as it's a fast game when you're behind the bench. So, like I said, we broke things down and kept the boys, somewhat on the same page and got some good results in the first 10 games.
Rory?
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to piggyback on Kyle Schneider because of the job that he did in the first 10 games. If people don't know, I'm assuming they did. He was a longtime player, in the SJHL as well. And then right out of it becomes the assistant head coach. What did you see from him that kind of made him the right hire? And then how have you seen his coaching ability blossom since he's been with you guys in the Ronge Ice Wolves?
Well, I think with the hiring, like I said, Schneid's... he's an old style. He played the game hard, played the game the right way, and he knew his role and he did his role very well. Now jumping to the other side, I tell you what, this kid speaks very, very well, and he's very mature for a young age, and just retiring out of the game, and he has really improved. Everything. Obviously, he does a lot of video for me. He knows what kind of I want and expect, and he gets it done. And like I said, he has a lot of good knowledge of the game, and he puts it. When we're talking and we're trying to go over different things, he has a lot of smart knowledge to put into where we need it, and like I said, the guys absolutely love him, and like I said, he's done one hell of a job here for the Ice Wolves.
Kevin, I know at the start of the season, in the preseason rather, you and I talked about goaltender Dawson Smith and how you thought last year his was going to be important for his development into this season being a starting goaltender. But now you have two great starting goaltenders in Dawson Smith and Topher Chirico. I mean, just speak to being able to roll out, two great goaltenders in between the pipes for the Ronge Ice Wolves.
You know what's so funny? We had quite a long team meeting here this morning before we went on the ice, and that's what we kind of, we did a little, we went around the room and what everyone, the guys, constructive criticism, and the guys got to speak on their about that player, and I think everyone knew. A lot of guys said they feel we have the best tandem, goalie system in the league, and I know Topher struggled a couple games, but when you look at his numbers now, I mean, and then with Smitty, I mean, like I said, these guys day in and day out, their work ethic, their compete on every puck is absolutely amazing. And like I said, when we have breakdowns, they're usually there to make the big saves and give us that momentum back. So, like I said, we feel that Topher and Smitty are a very good or an excellent 1-2 punch. And now you can kind of, you don't have to ride someone and wear them down, where you can, piggyback off each other and make them get the rest and get them prepared for, the next game when they're called upon.
For sure. Yeah, I got to ask you, Killer. I know lots of people have probably asked you this question, but I'm going to ask it to you again anyways. Obviously, for those who don't know at home, pretty long pro career, Washington Capitals in the National Hockey League too. What do you tell your players, from your experience in the game, the highest levels that they can use right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just, again, and I think we talked about our team identity this morning here, and obviously the game in Nipawin, it wasn't very good. We stood around and stirred soup. We didn't accomplish anything. And then in the second period, we finally took the momentum, or got the momentum. We got one, and we're pressing on. We were on the power play. And then we take a bad penalty, and then they score, and then the momentum's changed again. So, it's just some learning experience here that, especially, and I told these guys today that, the league has so much more parity this year than I've ever seen it. And, we seem to play better against the higher teams, Melfort, Humboldt, Flin Flon, all of them. But when we play against teams below us, and I've told them, I said, you can't take these guys lightly. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. I said, we have to prepare like we're playing a top team. And like I said, I think we thought we were going to go into Nipawin and take them lightly and just go through the motions. And that's what happened. I mean, we weren't, we thought we were prepared as coaches. But again, we just we took them lightly, and Nipawin did a hell of a job. They took the game to us, and so now with in saying that, I think with getting to the highest level, I think we talk about everybody has the work ethic, but we try and do it a little bit better, where we have the ultimate work ethic or unmatched work ethic, and that's what separates just the other teams from the work ethic. And I told our guys, I said, that's the last game that we're going to go through this. We have to be mentally, physically prepared to go to war, but we have to outwork every team in order for us to be successful.
Rory?
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned a little bit of rest after, I guess, the Nipawin game, a little bit before as well. But you take a look at your November schedule, and it is busy. 12 games in 12 games in November, 11 of them in 22 days. Your next 6, though, are going to be at home in a span of 12 days. How integral do you feel this homestand at the Mel Hagland Arena is to get the Ronge Ice Wolves into this, important part into the Christmas break push?
Well, it's going to be very, very important. Like you said, we got 4 games in 5 nights coming up here. It's obviously Parents' Weekend coming up here. And I like I said, I mean, if you can't motivate yourself and prepare for when your families come in, and like I said, you can't afford to have that lackluster effort like we did in Nipawin. So we've got to bring it here at home. We got to make hay while the sun shines here these next 4 games and 5 nights, and it's not going to be an easy task. Kindersley has been playing very, very well. We got them for 2 games, and we got Battleford, which you guys talked about. They just keep coming in waves, and they have that confidence, and they find a way to win every night. And then we have Yorkton for a 2:30 match Saturday before our big banquet. Saturday night. So, and then, like I said, then we have Weyburn coming in for 2. Then we hit the road for, I believe, what do we got? 7. So, like I said, this is a huge homestand. And I just, in our meeting today too, we tried to, we don't want to be, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. We want to be the team to take that next step and keep going forward here and try and get home ice advantage. I mean, it's going to be tough to obviously try and catch Battleford, but the other teams are in our line here, and that's what we can't demand mediocrity. We got to demand excellence and the winning ways that we've changed the culture here in La Ronge, and like I said, this is a big stepping stone here this week.
Yeah, for sure. Last one for me, Coach. Really appreciate your time. This question actually came in from the commissioner, Kyle McIntyre. My question for you then is, which player on your team reminds you of the way you played when you played?
Well, I think, there's, I guess it would have to be probably Ethan Strick. I know Jerome Walker, he drags the puck and he gets his nose dirty, and he makes plays, he scores, he does penalty kill, he does everything. But I think Ethan Strick, just with his knack of laying the body, having that the big hit, but also he's really developed into obviously a very good two-way center. And for myself, when I played, and I had a very good mentor, Huey Scobie, was a scout for the Saskatoon Blades, and he's right from my hometown, Churchbridge. He taught me a lot about being a very good 200-foot centerman. And, Brian Trottier was one of my favorites, one of my idols. Wendell Clark was in a different kind of category because I got to watch him and learn how to fight from him. But Brian Trottier was, again, I still think that till this day is the best 200-foot centerman to play the game. 6 Stanley Cups, but he did all those tangibles where he won every face-off. He punished guys with hits. He got the puck back, and he set up Bossy and his teammates all the time. And he was just a true leader. And so, like I said, I try and tell the centerman that every draw in the game, make it like it's in the finals, and it's in overtime, and you have to win every draw you can. Why chase the puck when you can play with it? And like I said, and then just have that confidence. A time and place for big hits, a time and place to punish guys, but also a time and place to get the puck back when you can and make plays. And I just feel like I said, I'm trying to teach our centermen to be not only, very good 200-foot players, but not just offensively, but they've got to be responsible in your own zone first.
Last one for me, Kevin. I've had the chance to see you guys play 4 times this season. And then, of course, going back last year into the playoffs. I always say they're one of the most difficult teams to go up against on how in your face you guys are, right? And the style you play. You look at your lineup, though, do you still feel that maybe some of your players aren't getting the credit you deserve? Because when I watch Walker Jerome, when I watch Riley Morgan, Ethan Strick, Connor Abrick, I'm like, why aren't these guys being talked about more? Because they're as talented as it gets. Do you feel that maybe some of your guys are still flying under the radar, which could be a positive for your group?
Yeah, no, I think I think it is. I mean, obviously, up north, I don't think we get the press like some of the teams do, but that's fine with us. I mean, we're we just want to take care of our business down here. But yeah, I think those guys that you just said, and you got Curtis in that in that lineup as well. Like I said, we have some very talented players, and like I said, we'll fly low under the radar here, and when it's time. Hopefully we can do some damage, in the playoffs and keep moving forward and just being, like you said, a team to be reckoned with, but also a hard-nosed team to play against. And I think that's how we've been successful, was if you be hard-nosed, but also once you create the turnover, go use your speed through the speed zone. And once you get into the offensive zone, have fun in the fun zone, we call it. So go be creative, but be puck responsible and go score some goals.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, you hopping on SJHL Weekly. And best of luck this week to you and the Ronge Ice Wolves, a busy 4 games this week.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. That is the head coach and general manager of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Kevin Kaminsky. And of course, every coach's conversation we have this season on SJHL Weekly is presented by the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. After the break, we will be pleased to be joined by the captain of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Walker Jerome, get his thoughts on the start of the season and much, much more. This is SJHL Weekly across the SJHL social media platforms.
Get red and ready with Case IH and Young's equipment. From Case IH combines to MacDon headers, Young's carries all the best in new or pre-owned harvest equipment. With field-ready, industry-leading equipment and highly dedicated service staff, we're here when you need us most. Come experience our award-winning service for yourself and visit youngs.ca to find your nearest Young's equipment location.
You wouldn't take the ice without protective wear. So why would you take to the job site that way? The SCSA is proud to partner with the SJHL.
Make way for the first ever Chevrolet Silverado ZR2. With Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials.
Dude, this is awesome, but we should get back to work. This good? Perfect.
If you're gonna work remote, work remote. Find new workspaces. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year.
Capital Auto Mall is a proud partner of the SJHL, supporting the rich traditions and proud future of junior hockey in Saskatchewan. Capital Auto Mall, on the corner of Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina.
Welcome back to SJHL Weekly across the SJHL social media platforms. Thank you so much for joining us here today. It is Rory Mcgouran, Jamie Neugebauer, Jeromy Corrigan. Again, thanks so much for joining us on this chilly Monday in Saskatchewan. And now we go to the video chat line once again, as we are pleased to be joined by the captain of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Walker Jerome. Walker, how's it going today?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Get to talk hockey. I guess first and foremost, Walker, an easy one for you, but how's the start of the season been for yourself and the Ronge Ice Wolves?
I mean, we're off to a pretty hot start, I think. I mean, we're just kind of getting our feet wet here and a couple of good wins, and then it's going to see what this week has for us, as it's a busy week. And I mean, for myself, I can't ask for much more, and just happy what the team's looking like so far.
Sure, I got a Walker. How's it going? Thanks for doing this. I got 2 quick questions for you, Part A and Part B. Part A,
absolutely.
Your dad, Todd, police officer, really tough dude. Big brother Peyton, pretty tough dude as well. Who wins a wrestling match between you three right now?
Well, I think I got him in height, but I definitely lose in weight category there. But not throwing any shots or anything, but I still think I got to give it to the old man. I mean, he's got that dad strength in him, which me and my brother just don't have quite yet.
Yeah, he knows he's got all that, all those martial arts. But I do got to ask you, just mentioned there, your dad part of the Regina Police, service. What were some of the things that, he's taught you? I know he's a hockey coach too, for the University of Regina, but, what has he kind of taught you from, his life of service, to be a captain, to be a hockey player and all those things?
Absolutely. I mean, he's been coaching me since I was 5 when I started. We did the South Sask Selects type of thing, and then we went to Midget AA, and he's coached me all the way through. So, I mean, he's definitely taught me a lot of my leadership skills as well as my brother. I mean, those are 2 great role models to have. So I can't really complain with my dad kind of being the SWAT leader and stuff like that. So, I mean, definitely get it from him.
Rory?
Hey, I'm not sure if you listened, but we just got off the chat with your head coach, Kevin Kaminsky, and he told us that you guys just kind of had a meeting today, along with yesterday, about the Ronge Ice Wolves identity and the way you play against the teams that are above you in the standings, as opposed to maybe below you in the standings. What did you take from some message in a way to make sure you guys are preparing yourself game in and game out, no matter who you're playing? And as the captain, how do you help your rest of your teammates buy into that message?
No, exactly. I mean, like you said, it shouldn't matter who we play either night. I mean, we want to come out as if it's the top team or if it's the bottom team, right? But we got a very strong leadership crew, and I think we all kind of have different roles, which bring in kind of who's got the voice and who's kind of got the more rah-rah guy and stuff like that. But as well as kind of going with the team, I mean, we like to have a set kind of pregame, what we're doing, being prepared is the biggest thing for us. I mean, you got to start around first period. I mean, that's where it starts, right? And so, yeah, preparation is something we've been kind of looking into more as a team. I mean, our starts have kind of been, if our start's not good, that's kind of how the game goes. So, I mean, it definitely starts right off the bat for sure.
I guess for you personally, Walker, you've had such a strong start to the season, but how have you seen your game grow from last season to now this season?
Absolutely. I mean, starting off here, my very first year, it was 5 games. I mean, I was a walk-on. I started off, I was in Saskatoon for my midget AAA year, and then I went to Melville camp to try and play with my brother. Couldn't make it there, so I mean, gave Killer a call, and here I was for camp. And he said, if I keep working, I'll make the team. So then we played our 5 games. I was zeros across the board, and then I come into last year and end up with 2 very good line mates with Della Polera and Maddie. So, I mean, we definitely put in great work there. And then moving into this year, I mean, it's definitely confidence, which I've picked up playing along and kind of been putting into like the overtime role and the power play role, which has been something that, I mean, Killer and Schneids have put lots of trust into me, and I couldn't appreciate it more for that.
Yeah, I got to ask you a big question, Walker. I'm sure, being around Saskatchewan, being around hockey for, a while, you were paying attention, I'm sure, to the fact that the Ronge as an organization was, going through some tougher times, we'll say, before Kevin Kaminsky came in. And, you joined the club sort of around the same time that Kaminski did. And, it seems like under him, this organization is kind of in a completely different direction. What can you say about some of the things that he's done to both, bring that community back in and make the Ice Wolves, a fearsome team that we've been talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing he probably said to me was, establish this rink as ours. I mean, it's got to be somewhere that it's tough to play. I mean, I know other teams don't like coming up here. It's just how it is. That's just how the Mel is, and that's how we like to keep it. I mean, Killer's kind of brought in a whole different look to this team. He's got guys that want to work for him and want to give it their all every night. And that's just something that kind of makes Ronge, right? And we definitely are out in the community lots, which helping kids and doing stuff like that and helping out with powwows. And so, I mean, that definitely brings the community all as one. which brings a bigger crowd to the Mel, which brings it tougher for other teams to come in and play.
Rory?
And just to double up on that one, Walker, you guys got 6 straight games at home. I know Killer said that it's your family weekend in the middle of that as well. How big of a smile does it put on your face to know that you got some home cooking coming? And it's a big stretch here at the Mel to pick up some big points.
Absolutely. I mean, my parents are coming in and they're staying with me. So, I mean, I'll get some meals from them, which will be good to see. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you can't step up and play when your parents are here, then maybe hockey's not for you. So I'm sure we'll be coming out strong. And no, definitely excited for this weekend. It's been probably a couple months for some guys from the States and stuff like that to see their families. So we'll be definitely looking forward to a big weekend with 4 games in it.
Yeah, for sure. Last one from me then, Walker. We talked to Kevin Kaminsky, as we said before, and he was saying that you guys had ambitions to not just sneak into the playoffs, but to be a real force, try to get home ice advantage. In your mind, and I'm going to ask you to be as bold as you want to be or not, but how good is this team? How far do you feel like you can go in this locker room in the SJHL in 22-23?
Absolutely. I'm extremely confident in this team. I mean, with the guys we've picked up, with the guys that came into camp, we got 2 very good goalies, and our D-core is just getting stronger. And as well as our forward, we're very deep. I mean, we got extra forwards that are as strong as ever. So I think we got a great team to do it. And as well, we're under 2 great coaches. So I think, like you said, we are not just coming in for that 7/8 place. We want that 1, 2, or 3 spots. So every night we will push to get up there, and that's that.
Well, you guys are off to a great start this season, and things are looking up for the Ronge Ice Wolves. Walker, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. We really appreciate it, and best of luck this week in your 4-game stretch.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the show that gives us a lot of exposure for the teams and the players. So we appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Walker. Have a great 4 games this week, and everybody will be watching, and enjoy time with your parents.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is the captain of the Ronge Ice Wolves, Walker Jerome. A great chat with Walker. And I know, guys, we kind of talked about it with Kevin a little bit, but yeah, there's some I've seen the Ronge Ice Wolves a handful of times this season. You have so many talented players like Walker Jerome that, there's times where maybe we're not talking about them enough. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad we can do a double dose of the Ronge Ice Wolves, because it's very possible, right? There's 12 teams in the league, and there are some that are going to have a lighter week than others in coverage. But I mean, I loved hearing from players, especially of the way he holds himself in Walker Jerome. There's no doubt why he's the captain of that team. And they have a lot of talented players. But listening from Kevin Kaminsky and from Walker, it's a team-first mentality up there in La Ronge, and they're going to be a handful to handle once they're in the playoffs, which I have no doubt that they will be.
100%.
And, so, I mean, if we can pass more coverage to the players that deserve it, and, he gives the shout-out back to us that it makes this full, that's for sure.
Jamie, final thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? And I love calling games up there as
Me
a broadcaster.
Too, yeah.
You're right there. You're in the action. I was talking to a player on the Hounds yesterday, and he said that they could hear me in the broadcast too. So we can hear them. We can hear the coaches. We can hear the refs talking. You're right there. It's so much fun. And man, yeah, when that rink is rocking, it is a tough place, I'm sure, to play. But it's a lot of fun to be in that atmosphere, and big time kudos to Kevin Kaminsky and his staff for making the Ice Wolves what they are.
Sorry, Nukes, I just want to jump in. And Walker mentioned he was a walk-on, no pun intended. But five games played in a COVID-shortened year where he had no points. And for the Ronge Ice Wolves to stick with them and then putting up 44 points in 57 games, and now he's up over a point per game. What an eye by Kaminski and the scouting staff to not give up on this kid who in his final year of AAA only had 8 points in a 40-some-odd game. So, it was a buy-in and a gutsy call that really paid off.
And let me make one more point here quickly. Like, Kevin Kaminsky isn't just double talking when he's saying like we're putting culture and work ethic before anything else and team first before anything else up in Larange. Like he's proven it. And I can tell you that when they traded their captain Nolan Dole last year to Melfort, a lot of teams called in on Walker Jerome and other guys on Larange too, but especially Walker Jerome. Are you guys rebuilding? What does this mean? And it was just a hockey move there for them to move on with Nolan Dole. They got McInnes, who's still there, and Evans, who turned into Trenton Curtis, who's so it turned into a great trade for Larange. But he didn't answer the phone if people were asking about Walker Jerome. Let me tell you right now.
Fair enough. Yes, things are definitely looking up for the Larange Ice Wolves. We've talked about it. They are off to a great start this season. Big 6-game stretch at home at the Mel, and they will kick off their stretch with a pair of games against Kindersley Tuesday, Wednesday. But it is now time to announce the SJHL Players of the Week. I will say, before we get started, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I will say personally, I think this week was a little bit easier just because there weren't as many games, and there were only a few teams that actually played multiple games, so it made it a little bit easier when it comes to deciding the Players of the Week. We'll start with the SGEU MVP of the week from the Battleford North Stars, Keon Bell with 4 goals, 2 assists. I mean, Jamie, you brought it up earlier, but I mean, that top line currently sits top 3 in scoring right now in the SJHL, and Bell's been a big reason for their success this year.
Yeah, Bell, Dole, Southgate. I mean, again, they got all sorts of weapons.
Right.
So you match up against them, then you got to match up against Keaton Klein, etc. But Keon Bell, 4 goals, 2 assists. Battleford is going to score. You're going to have to outscore them if you're going to beat them. And then Josh Cote's in net. So good luck to you. And Keon Bell is a big part of why the Battleford North Stars are, almost impossible looking right now to shut down.
Yes, a very good week for Bell, 4 goals, 2 assists in just the 2 games because the Sunday game got postponed against the Notre Dame Hounds. Direct West Rookie of the Week. Rory, you saw him twice this week, and that's Logan Ziegler of the Estevan Bruins. 3 goals, 3 assists. How impressive was he this weekend?
Yeah, stay tuned to the show, Carl, down in Estevan, because the Estevan Bruins are going to get a lot of shout-outs coming up here, the Players of the Week. Ziegler's been fantastic. Another one of that player that he's just, he again, with the Bruins, a little bit of a slower start, but he's now first place in the rookie scoring. I tweeted about it a couple days ago that there was a logjam of 5 players all tied with 12.
Right.
Well, Ziegler was 6 points over the course of the week, has rocketed right up into number 1, 18 points. But he's on that top line. He's playing a lot of minutes as a rookie, and he's one of the best young players in the league for sure. So he deserves it.
Yeah, he's almost a point per game, in his first full year of junior Hale hockey. So he's definitely getting the opportunity down in Estevan for sure. Moving on to SaskTel Goalie of the Week. Jamie, you talked about him earlier, but Estevan Bruins, Cam Herdlicka, 2 shutouts against the Humboldt Broncos. Another superb week for the Estevan Bruins netminder.
Yeah. Hey, shout out the Edge Prep Academy in Calgary. You got 2 of the 4 here. Cam Herdlicka, Logan Ziegler, both Edge Prep CSSHL kids. Look, 67 of 67 over those 2 games. Again, Battleford's put a couple goals in by him. He was pulled. I think Battleford's is going to put goals by anybody right now, so fair enough. But, Cam has played 1,134 minutes already this year. That's 267 more than anybody else. That guy is named Josh Cote, by the way. But Cam Herdlicka has been spectacular. He's been everything that the Estevan Bruins could have hoped and more. And a big reason why they have been, as Rory said earlier in the show, probably, the best team in the league, not named Battleford's and Humboldt for the most of this season.
And you could argue, we talked about it earlier too, is you could argue he's the most valuable player to his team easily so far this season. Finally, defenseman of the week. And once again, Rory, we're sticking with the Estevan Bruins and defenseman Alexei Babik of the Estevan Bruins, 1 goal and 3 assists. Their blue lines looked good all year, contributing many times offensively, but a solid week by Babik with 1 goal and 3 assists.
And yeah, we often give defensemen of the week towards what they're able to contribute on stat sheets, but Estevan blanked the Humboldt Broncos twice in a row. So who logs the most minutes on that blue line? Well, it's Alexa Babik and it's Alex Blanchard. they're now 2-3 in the league in defensive scoring as well. So they're not only doing it in their own zone, really keeping that structure well for Jason Tatarnic and Phil Fife, but they're moving it up ice. They're great in transition. Their first pass is elite, and they got 34 combined points between two of them. So it's, if not the best pairing in the league, top three easily.
Yeah, 100%. So the fans down in Estevan rejoice. 3 players of the week after picking up 4 out of a possible 6 points. So in recap, SGU MVP of the week from the Balfour North Stars, Keon Bell with 4 goals, 2 assists. SaskTel goalie of the week from the Estevan Bruins, Cam Hrdlicka. Of course, he had the 2 shutouts against the Humboldt Broncos. Direct West rookie of the week, Logan Ziegler with 3 goals, 3 assists in 3 games played. And defenseman of the week, Alexei Babak of the Estevan Bruins with a goal and 3 assists in 3 games played. Action will resume in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Fingers crossed, barring road conditions and Mother Nature. Will kick off tomorrow night, Tuesday, as the Kindersley Clippers, a team we have not talked about in a long time, and that is because they've had 13 days off. And they will be up in La Ronge, and La Ronge will kick off that busy stretch on the lone game Tuesday night on the schedule. On Wednesday, 3 games on tap, and Nugsy and Rory get to meet up at the Elgar Peterson Arena in Humboldt as the Notre Dame Hounds visit the Humboldt Broncos. Melville's in Estevan, and Kindersley and La Ronge play another meeting on Wednesday night. And then on Thursday, Yorkton will kick off 3-3 against the Flin Flon Bombers. Rory, I'll go to you. When you look at this week ahead across the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, what stands out and what are you keeping your eye on?
Yeah, I think if you look anywhere other than the La Ronge Ice Wolves, you're being misled because he mentioned it, 4 games in 5 days. But the biggest point I took away from it is they don't want to be 7th or 8th. They want to be in the top 4 because they know how valuable home ice advantage will now do to the Humboldt Broncos losing 3 games in a row. You know, Estevan from their start are still right there with them. They're in striking distance of 2nd place in the Flin Flon Bombers with this 4 games in 5 day homestand. So it's huge for La Ronge Ice Wolves. Big week. I know we're tight for time, but I just have to give out my condolences across the SJHL because we never want to lose one of our own. But our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Tanner Vandersype, who of course played for the Notre Dame Hounds. He played for the Humboldt Broncos. He passed away, and just want to send my thoughts, my prayers, and their condolences behalf anyone in the SJHL to his family and his friends for losing Tanner. He was a good one from what I'm hearing, everyone here around Humboldt.
Yes, all our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends, of course. You know, going back now to the hockey, Jamie, what stands out for you this week?
Yeah, again, from the Notre Dame family, too, obviously, to Tanner Vandersype meant a lot to the Wilcox community. We know around where he lived, so there. But yeah, to the hockey, you know, I'm interested to see what the encore presentation is here from the Estevan Bruins. They got games at home. They've got Melville in town, as we saw, and they got 2 against Melfort. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether the Estevan Bruins, you know, they're on everybody's radar now. They have been for a while now. But can they follow it up? Can they follow up, win thunderous 11-0 in 2 games at home against the Humboldt Broncos? I don't know how many teams are going to do that the rest of this season. So I'm going to see what Jason Tatarnic and the Bruins have for dessert.
And for me, I will say what I'm keeping my eye on is the Kindersley Clippers playing their first game in 13 days tomorrow night against La Ronge Ice Wolves. I mean, last time, you know, this is the second time that the Kindersley Clippers have had a stretch where they've had more than 10 days off. And last time they went up to Flin Flon for 2 games and they got shut out. So I want to see how the Kindersley Clippers respond after having 13 days off. And now you're going to play 3 and 4 on the road, 2 in La Ronge, and then another matchup on the Friday in Nipawin. But lots of great hockey on the schedule. Of course, if you want to check out any of the games and see the full schedule, you can head to sjhl.ca. And if you want to stay up to date and everything in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, be sure to follow us across all of our social medias. It's on the screen. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is where you'll find everything in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League when it comes to our shows, our features, highlights, which are posted after each game. Stay up to date in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League with all of our social media. Of course, all of our shows and all of our projects wouldn't be possible without the great sponsors that we have in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. As you can see, There is many of them on our screen. Chevrolet, Capital Auto Mall, Great Western, Cantera Seeds, RBC, SaskTel, SGU, Direct West, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, which also presents all of our coaches' interviews throughout the season on SJHL Weekly, Tourism Saskatchewan, and Young's Equipment. Thank you so much for all your supports, because our shows wouldn't be possible without the great people behind all of those sponsors that help us put on these shows each and every week. It is going to be a very busy week of hockey, to say the least. For Rory Mcgouran, Jamie Neugebauer, my name's Jeromy Corrigan, and this has been another great episode of SJHL Weekly across the SJHL social media platforms.